Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Massachusetts, we need to talk again because you have absolutely, without a doubt, the most atrocious piece of gun control legislation that we've ever seen. And that's saying something because we have seen some real piles of crap come through here on Washington Gun Law. But as we know, HD 4420, Massachusetts' new sweeping gun control legislation has every little single gun-grabbing pet project in it. It is nothing short of the Death Star of gun control legislation. Now, one of the things that we see all throughout the country, though, is that whenever these state legislatures come up with all of these fantastic ideas how they're going to make your community safer and save lives, they don't seem to have a lot of support of law enforcement. As a matter of fact, most frequently, law enforcement actually speaks out against the legislation, and this is yet another example. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about when the police call BS on your gun control laws. Okay, so what we are talking about is Massachusetts HD 4420. Now, if you don't live in Massachusetts, should you still be paying attention to this? Yeah, you do, because this is some of the insanity that is likely coming your way. And if you live in a state that is shaded it all blue, you most definitely need to take a look at this because this insanity has a tendency to spread rather rapidly. HD 4420 would basically eviscerate every citizen in Massachusetts' Second Amendment rights. We've already done this video right here where we broke down many of the components in there. I encourage you to geek out on that video so you can understand just how bad it is. Now, I believe it's going to be sold to Massachusetts residents. It's just going to be some new restrictions about places where you can't carry firearms. What's the big deal? Well, ask the folks down in Oregon what the big deal was ballot measure 114, which was just going to be a little pre-purchasing educational requirement, and what happened there. Now, there has at least now 2 law enforcement departments would have just come blatantly out and said, you know what, this is a terrible, terrible piece of legislation. I want to share with you a post that the Ware, Massachusetts Police Department put out to all of its citizens, and I think it really objectively takes a look at what this legislation is all about from the perspective of law enforcement. And let us not forget that if we're talking about staying in your own lane and really trying to figure out who are the experts on certain topics, one could probably presume that when it comes to deterring, preventing a crime, that local law enforcement would in fact probably be the best resource. Now, even though Representative Michael Day, the one who actually is sponsoring this atrocious piece of legislation, says he went on a statewide listening tour and this is where he came up with all of his ideas, he clearly at no point did he ever speak with any local law enforcement agency. Now, this is how the Ware Police Department talks about this legislation. The Ware Police Department would like to bring an important matter to your attention. The proposed anti-gun bill currently under consideration, HD 4420, enact Modernizing Firearms Laws. We understand that this state-level legislation has raised concerns amongst law-abiding citizens who value their Second Amendment rights. We recognize that the right to bear arms is a fundamental aspect of our nation's history and an essential component of personal and collective security. As members of the police force, we are committed to upholding laws and defending the rights of our community members. A plethora of blatantly unconstitutional proposals litter this travesty of a bill, too many to mention here. However, of particular egregiousness is the criminalization of carrying firearms in certain so-called prohibited locations, including businesses and private properties, even while holding a valid license to carry. Not even off-duty police officers will be exempted from this appalling mandate. And of course, we're beginning to see this. We saw this in New Jersey. We saw this in New York, which is, oh my God, now let's just make everywhere in our state a sensitive place, which means you can't carry guns. And as we all know, the criminals will always obey those gun-free zone signs. Now, the police department here continues to then state, gun-free zones have been proven to have no effect on stopping crime, In fact, they embolden criminals to seek out these areas as soft targets of opportunity where their chances of meeting resistance will be minimal. This bill does not address criminals. Rather, it focuses on making criminals out of law-abiding citizens and further hampers police agencies from combating true crime. We believe that public input and engagement are crucial in shaping legislation that reflect the diverse perspectives and concerns of our citizens. Therefore, we encourage you, the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, who have a long and storied history of throwing off the chains of our oppressors, let not this tradition die in the hands of our generation, to actively participate in the democratic process by voicing your opinions and taking appropriate actions to safeguard your rights. And yes, Boston, Massachusetts is in fact the birthplace of liberty, but it appears now that it is on its final breaths in the state of Massachusetts. The Ware Police Department suggests this as potential action items for all of you in Massachusetts. 1, educate yourself. Familiarize yourself with the details of the proposed anti-gun bill. Read the legislation, study its potential impact, and understand its implications for your rights as a responsible gun owner. 2, communicate with your local representatives. Reach out to your local, state, and federal representatives to express your concern about the bill. Write letters and make phone calls to ensure your voice is heard. And listen, for all my Washington viewers, they know that the frustration that you can have, that sometimes you feel that you have no voice, no one listens to you. And in some instances, unfortunately, I'm not going to lie to you, that is exactly the case. Does it mean that we then just have to wave the white flag and say, I'm not going to engage in representative government? No, we're better than that, and we need to continue to voice our opposition. The Ware Police Department also suggests 3, encourage open dialogue. Foster constructive conversations about gun ownership, emphasizing responsible practices and the importance of preserving individual liberties. Engage in respectful discussion with friends, family, and neighbors to promote understanding and awareness. 4, stay informed and mobilize. Keep yourself updated on the progress of the bill and its potential impact to your rights. Stay connected with local gun rights organizations and be prepared to mobilize if necessary. And that last bit about staying on top of it, because listen, whenever there is this really unpopular gun control legislation, and you can track this all around the country, they will try to do this thing in the wee hours of the night. They will try to do it without committee meetings. They will try to do it without public comment. We're going to put links down below in the description box so that all of you know how to contact the appropriate representatives in your districts to voice your opposition. The Ware Police Department concludes its statement as follows. Remember, your involvement in shaping legislation that impacts your rights is vital. By actively participating and voicing your concerns, you contribute to the democratic process, ensure that legislation is fair, balanced, and respects the rights of responsible citizens. The Ware Police Department encourages respectful and law-abiding civic engagement on this matter. We are committed to maintaining the safety and security of our community while upholding the rights enshrined in our Constitution. Thank you for your attention and active participation. And then it is signed by the Ware Police Department. Kudos to the Ware Police Department, because not only are they alerting to you to what is an absolutely atrocious piece of legislation, but they are giving very sound advice about how to get yourself engaged in the process. Massachusetts, we need every single one of you to stand up and fight right now. I'm telling you, your Second Amendment rights are on the table here. I have no faith that anyone in your state courts are going to be willing to actually reverse legislation like this. And it will be a long wait before you get yourself to a federal court that may be willing to do that. The time to fight is right now. Listen, the legislation, once again, is HD 4420. It is absolutely the Death Star of gun control legislation. And for all the people who think that this is actually going to save lives and make a difference in the community, ask yourself this, Massachusetts, why is it that not one single law enforcement agency has spoken up in support of this legislation? Listen, you may have more questions about HD 4420 or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights. You guys should know how to contact Washington Gun Law by now, but if you don't, that's okay. That information is down there in the description box. In the meantime, I want all of you to remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.